Hello everyone and welcome to Math Totally Matters. So to all my online math students out there, this is your next lesson and it is multiplying whole numbers. Let's get started. So if you weren't here for the last lesson on multiplication and repeated addition and seeing their relationship, or if you forgot, I would like to remind you that when we're talking about multiplication and we're looking at something like this image that you see here, it's called an array, we are going to count the number of rows and count the number of items in each row. And when we say the phrase groups of, so many groups of a number, those two words, groups of, will always be able to be replaced with our multiplication sign. Okay, so remember that groups of is the same thing as saying multiply. Okay, so when you hear those two words, groups of, know that you can take those two words out of what I just said and insert a multiplication symbol. So write the multiplication sentence for the image below. We have how many rows do we have of cars here? We have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 3 rows of cars, and in each of those rows we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. So we have 3 groups of 6. 3 groups of 6 cars. So if we have 3 groups of 6 cars, we can say 3 groups of will replace with our multiplication symbol, 3 groups of, or 3 times 6. Right? 3 times 6, and that is equal to, if you count them out, it's 18, but you should know 3 times 6 equals 18. There are 18 cars. All right, example number 2. Here we have a bunch of apples. So let's count the number of rows first. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And in each of our rows, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 apples. So we have 4 rows, 7 apples in each row. That means we have 4 groups of 7. So we have 4 times 7 apples. And what does that equal? Well, 4 times 7 is equal to 28. You can use what we learned in our last lesson with the repeated addition and say, well, what's 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7? And whether you do 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 or 4 times 7, you get the same answer, which is 28 apples. All right, here's another reference back to the previous lesson where we talked about repeated addition and multiplication. And I want you to answer this, and when I come back, I'll tell you what the correct answer is, and we'll see if you got it right. Which of the following is equal to 4 times 3? A, B, C, or D? Okay, well, it is repeated addition and multiplication. And if you see, we have 4 times 3. So that's 4. Take out the x and insert groups of. We have 4 groups of 3. So we should have 4 threes, which means that the correct answer to this question should be C. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. 4 groups of 3. All right, here's example number 4. We're going to have you write the multiplication sentence for the following image. I want you to look at that, figure out what the correct multiplication sentence would be. You can start by saying, well, what would the repeated addition look like? And then from that, use that to write your multiplication sentence, whatever works for you. When you come back, I'll show you the answer. All right, so we have how many rows? 1, 2. We have 2 rows, and in each row there are 4 cakes. 4 birthday cakes to be exact. So if we have 2 rows and 4 cakes in each row, we have 2 groups of 4, so it would be 2 times 4. That is the answer to that example. All right, now we have moved on and we are into your practice problems. So here's the first one. Write the multiplication sentence for the image you see here. All right, well, what do we see in this image? We see 1, 2, 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4 butterflies. 3 rows, 4 butterflies in each row. So the multiplication sentence would be that we have 3 groups of 4 butterflies. So 3 times 4 would be your multiplication sentence. Here's your next practice problem. And by the way, on our last slide, we had 3 groups of 4 butterflies. How many butterflies in total would that be? 3 times 4? Or 4 plus 4 plus 4? That would be 12. 12 butterflies. All right, here we have this image of strawberries. I want you to write the multiplication sentence. And when you come back, I'll show you what that is. All right, we have how many rows? 1, 2. 2 rows of strawberries, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 strawberries in each row. So we have 2 groups of 8. So we're going to write 2 times 8. And what is the total for that? 2 times 8, or 8 plus 8, and that equals 16. All right, next problem. Here's your third practice problem. So look at the image here, and I want you to write the multiplication sentence, please. All right, what is the multiplication sentence for this image? Well, how many rows do you have? You have 1, 2, 3 rows and 5 ice cream cones with mint chocolate chip ice cream. That is my favorite. 5 of them in each row. So 3 rows of 5, which means we have 3 groups of 5. So it would be 3 times 5, which is what? Well, 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 3 times 5, is equal to 15. On to practice number 4. Write the multiplication sentence for this image. All right, what do we have? Well, we have 3 rows, right? 1, 2, 3. 3 groups. And how many in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 groups of 7, so it would be 3 times 7, or 7 plus 7 plus 7, and that is equal to 21 bicycles. Here is practice problem number 5, multiple choice. Which of the following is equal to 6 times 4? Okay, which one of those options is equal to 6 times 4? Okay, so we're talking about repeated addition relationship with that and multiplication. 6 times 4 is saying 6 groups of 4. 6 groups of 4 would be 6 fours. So you should have answered letter C, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. And by the way, the answer to both of those would be 24. Here's your last practice problem, and on this problem you're going to do some matching. So as each question pops up, please identify which of the 5 options A, B, C, D, or E goes with the image or the phrase that you see corresponding to that number. When you come back, I will show you the answers. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Number 1 is an image where we have 3 rows of balloons, and in each of those rows there are 4 balloons. So we have 3 groups of 4, right? Okay, so 3 groups of 4 would be 3 times 4, so you should have matched number 1 up with C. 3 times 4, which is equal to 12. Number 2, we have which one of the following is equal to 4 times 6. So 4 times 6 is 4 groups of 6. 4 groups of 6 would look like letter B with repeated addition. 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Number 3. In number 3, you have 2 groups of pencils, and in each group there are 8 pencils. So 2 groups of 8 as a multiplication sentence is written as 2 times 8, so that would be letter D, and that equals 16. And then number 4, which of the following is equal to 2 times 4? Okay, well, 2 times 4 is the same thing as saying 2 groups of 4, or 4 plus 4. So that would have been letter E. And lastly, you have number 5. Number 5 shows you 2 groups, and in each group there are 5 trees. So 2 groups of 5, or 2 times 5. So that goes with letter A. All right, this concludes our lesson on multiplying whole numbers. And so now we are all set and ready for our times tables, which will be your next lesson. See you next time.